Ever feel like, one of those sweaters been shoved in a drawer, kind of misshapen,
Mhm.
and you just know no one's picking that to wear again?
Oof, yeah.
That's kind of where we're wading in today, feeling unlovable, especially after trauma. It sticks with you. But here's the thing about this deep dive. Our source material, it goes at this totally differently.
Oh.
We're ditching the whole emotional intelligence thing, even mindfulness, all that. This is about healing those deep down hurts, but in a new light. We're going to be spending this episode with Sarah. Her story, it's in the source material, and man, it packs a punch.
Hmm.
Basically, she had a childhood, well, just soaked in criticism,
Yeah.
especially from her parents.
And what's so striking is that's so many people. Sarah's experience, it's like you hear it and you just get it. That constant hit to your self-worth being told not good enough,
Ugh.
it echoes.
It's like her parents' words, they became her own voice inside,
Yeah.
just on repeat.
Yeah.
And now, even when people genuinely want to be there for her,
Yeah.
offering love, support, the works, Sarah just pulls back.
It's a self-protection thing almost.
Totally. There's this part in the source material that just killed me. Just a phone call with her sister. Simple as that. My sister's trying. Right. Be there, listen. But Sarah, she goes straight to defensive mode.
Oh, I know that
And
feeling.
it backfires, makes her feel even worse. Shows you how tangled up this feeling unlovable is with her relationships.
Yeah, and this is where the source material takes its first turn. It's saying looking for validation outside yourself when the wound's that deep, it's not enough.
Like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone.
Exactly. The source material flat out says self-love, accepting yourself, that's not a luxury. It's essential to healing. And this isn't about being vain, it's deeper. It's knowing you have worth just because you're human. No one else needs to tell you.
So how do we even begin to untangle that? Those beliefs, so ingrained, that negative self-talk, all coming from trauma.
That is the question. And the source material, it hits on this, integrating the negative voices, like embrace the shadow self.
The stuff we'd rather hide.
Exactly. But those parts, they've got something to tell us. See, the more we fight them, the more power we give them without realizing it. What this does, it's like, acknowledge it, listen to it, then choose how you respond.
Instead of them running the show.
Boom! You got it. Which leads to the third big thing from the source material. Using outside influence to actually help you grow doesn't contradict the self-love thing, builds on it.
Because we need to believe in ourselves. But sometimes, don't you need someone to reflect that back at you? Remind you when you can't see it.
100%. But, and the source material gets this, people like Sarah, they're scared. Accepting help, it feels like you're weaker, less in control. So it's that balance, right? Building yourself up and letting others be part of that.
Man, this is hitting home. We underestimate community. Being around people who get it, who lift you up.
Hugely. So the source material, it takes all this, the self-love must, the shatter self, the good community, and it makes this unique approach. Calls it switching off and on again. And this is where it gets kind of cool, right? Because it's not about pretending the past didn't happen. You're not going to become some new person overnight. But this switching off and on again, it's like rewiring how you think way down deep. And it gives you, get this, 5 things to actually do it.
5 elements to this whole, okay, I'm hooked, hit me with it.
So element 1, they call it changing the frequency. Now, at first, that sounds like the same old, just think positive, right?
Yeah, been there, heard that, didn't work.
Exactly. But the source material, it digs deeper. Picture this. Your mind's a radio, only it's stuck on one station, and all it plays is self-doubt. Criticism, the works. For Sarah, it's like that station's her parents' voices, on repeat.
Ouch. Yeah.
Right. Switching off and on again, it says, you're not stuck. You've got the power to change the channel.
So instead of those negative thoughts just playing, you choose something else. Like a station with self-love, acceptance, all that.
Nailed it. And the source material, it makes this clear. This ain't about slapping on a fake smile, repeating stuff you don't believe. It's active. You hear that thought, you'll never be good enough. Sarah's got that one bad. You hit back. I can learn. I can grow. That kind of thing.
So it's like, what, a muscle? You work it out.
Exactly. The more you practice catching those thoughts, swapping them for something empowering, the stronger you get. But how does this actually rewire anything? Well, here's where the science comes in. Every time we think something, it's literally making pathways in our brain stronger.
Right, really?
Yeah. So choosing those good affirmations, it's like you're carving new paths, new routes for your thoughts to take.
Okay, that's kind of blowing my mind right now. So this isn't just some feel-good stuff. There's actual science behind it. I love that this isn't afraid of the tough stuff either. The trauma, the bad thoughts. Like, nope, we're going to work with those. Okay, element 2, photographing yourself. That's an interesting one. What's that about?
Remember how the source material talked about our minds being kind of like old photographs, all
Hmm.
marked up by what we've been through, especially the stuff that makes us feel unlovable?
Right, like all those wrinkles and creases from the hurtful stuff people have said, and just, those moments that chipped away at our self-esteem.
You got it. But here's the thing, photographing yourself. It's not about erasing those lines. It's like you're adding new layers on top, acknowledging, yeah, those things happened. They're part of your story, but they're not the whole picture.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Photograph ourselves in a way that actually helps.
The source material talks about really making a point of noticing your successes, even the small ones. Sarah, she's got a hard time accepting love, right? Imagine if she started to see when she did let someone in, even just a little. Writing those down, those little victories, that's photographing yourself.
Oh, I like that. It's like making a photo album of all the times we were strong, when we grew, those moments we beat those negative thoughts. It's so easy to focus on what we see as flaws. Instead of being down about the phone call with your sister, Sarah could write, "Hey, I let my friend be there for me today." Small, but important, right?
Exactly. And over time, those positive snapshots, they build up. It's not about pretending the bad stuff didn't happen. It's making a more, well, a more complete picture of who you are.
It's like that saying, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. This is about changing how we see ourselves.
Boom. It's rewiring to focus on the good stuff, the strengths, which builds up that self-worth, makes you more resilient.
Okay, I'm seriously putting gratitude journal on my to-do list after this. This is way better than just trying to think positive. All right, element 3, working with emotions. That feels really important with trauma because, while those tough emotions, they're intense.
Right. And the source material has this analogy that just clicked for me. Think of a bad thought, a negative emotion, whatever, like it's a storm cloud, blocking out the sun for a bit. It's real, it's there, but it's not going to last forever.
Okay, I can see that. So we're not supposed to be like, nope, don't feel that. It's more about weathering the storm, letting it happen, but not letting it, like, drown us.
You got it. And the source material, it's big on this. Working with emotions doesn't mean wallow in it, let it control you. It's about expressing it healthfully.
So, like journaling, maybe,
Yeah.
or art, heck, even listening to music that fits how you feel.
All of that. And this is where remembering Sarah is key. She shuts down when things are tough, right?
Yeah?
Journaling, maybe that helps her process it alone before trying to talk to someone.
That's so smart. It's not one size fits all. It's figuring out what your way is. Even just going for a walk, really noticing what's around me helps me sometimes.
There you go. The takeaway is the more okay we are feeling our emotions without judging them, the less control they have over us.
Like building up an, I don't know, emotional vocabulary or something. You can spot what you feel, why you feel it, then you choose how to react. Okay, bring on element 4. Embracing criticism. Honestly, that's kind of scary sounding, especially when you already feel unlovable.
Seems backwards, yeah.
You're telling me it feels like the last thing you want to do when you're already your own worst critic. But the sort of material, it flipped this for me. It's saying criticism, even when it's not done well, it can help you grow.
Okay, now I gotta know. How do you go from, like, criticism is bad to it being a good thing?
So they talk about this mirror work. It's not about literally staring in a mirror. It's about seeking out feedback and using it to look at yourself.
Wait, so instead of hiding from it, we run towards it. Ouch, even if it hurts.
Yep. Now, easier said than done, right? Especially for someone like Sarah. But what if she could separate the feedback from how good she thinks she is? Instead of, they're right, I'm a failure, it's, is there something here I can actually learn from? So just because someone's saying it doesn't mean it's true about you as a person. It's more like sorting through it, seeing what's useful and what's just, like, their opinion.
100%. And the source material, it's big on this. Mirror work doesn't mean you believe everything everyone says. It's about deciding what you take in, what you let go.
That is huge. You're back in control in those moments.
Okay.
Okay, we've done a lot. Changing the thoughts, the photo thing, the emotions, and now criticism. What's the 5th part of this? Switching off and on again. Give it to me.
This one's all about harnessing the influence of others. Sounds kind of weird, right? Especially after all this self-love talk. But the source material, it's saying these things, they're not separate. They work best together.
Like you were saying before about community being so important.
Exactly. Just like a garden needs different nutrients, right? Our emotions, they need different things to thrive. Different people, different support.
So we got to be picky about who we're around, who we let influence us.
For sure. And for someone like Sarah, who's got walls up, man, that's tough.
Especially if being vulnerable before just caused pain.
Right. But this part, it's not about forcing yourself to be open with everyone or putting yourself in situations that don't feel safe. It's baby steps.
Like, what would be a baby step for someone in that spot?
Maybe for Sarah, it's talking to a therapist. Or there's those support groups, people who've been through similar stuff, or even just grabbing coffee with that one friend who's always there for her. It's about starting to build those connections that feel good, that feel safe.
Because when you've got people you can lean on, who celebrate the good stuff with you and are there when you doubt yourself, it makes dealing with all this so much easier.
No doubt. This switching off and on again thing, it's a lot. We've covered so much. But it's all connected, right? Changing those thoughts, the photos, the emotions, the criticism, and having good people around you. And what I love, it gives you actual steps to heal, to go from feeling unlovable to, actually liking and accepting yourself. And that's what's so great, right? It gets that healing. It's not a straight line. There's going to be times you fall back, those old thoughts pop up, the bad stuff comes back. But now you've got tools, this switching off and on again, it helps you handle those times better.
That's what gets me. It's not like you hit this finish line, poof, never insecure again, never feel unworthy. It's more like making friends with yourself, even the parts that are messy, that you don't love.
Exactly. You're a work in progress, always. And that's okay. It's when we're vulnerable and we can say, this is hard. That's when the real growth happens.
It's like we're taking off those old sweaters, the ones that don't fit, the ones made of self-doubt and all that. And yeah, it's not always going to be pretty. There might be tears. You might want to quit.
Yeah.
But eventually, you make room for something new.
Something stronger. Something more you. And that's the thing that I think is so powerful. No one else can give you permission to love yourself, to accept who you are. You got to choose to do that work every day, one little switch at a time.
And that is such a good message for everyone listening today. If you're struggling with this, if Sarah's story hit home, you are not alone. And even more importantly, you can heal.
It might take time, it might be tough, but you've got what it takes to change your story. Just start small. Challenge one thought. Write down one good thing. Call that friend who's always there.
One step at a time, right? And the more we do these switching off and on again things, the easier they get, like making a new path in your mind so self-love can grow.
Love that, because it shows this isn't about being perfect. No one's perfect. It's about making progress, being kind to yourself, even when it's tough.
To everyone listening, thank you so much for being here for this deep dive. It's been, wow, really something. We want to hear from you. What stuck with you? What's one tiny thing you can do today to start switching off and on again? Ditch those bad thoughts and be your best self.
Share those thoughts, the aha moments, what you're learning about yourself. We're all in this together.
And remember, you are worthy of love just as you are. Until next time, keep those switches handy and keep shining.